It's time for That Was the Woke That Was with Andre Walker.
Hang on, what is my father doing here? You, out, out, out. Oh, well, I will tell you something. In this household, it's the opposite of the House of Lords. He inherited my seat. Goodness me. OK, welcome to That Was the Woke That Was, the topical quiz show that goes through all of the wokest stories of the week. On my panel tonight, Ollie London, Lacey Butcher, Danielle Nicholls, and the lovely, the gorgeous Lizzie Cundy. But before you clap, we've also got the world's smallest studio audience. That is Matt, Dave, and Louise. And don't they look radiant? OK, so first of all, to Danielle and to Lizzie. Former Deal or No Deal star Meghan Markle wants to bring back the game show and host it herself. Markle was famous for being a briefcase babe in the American series.
Well, you know what? She is good at doing a deal. I mean, look at the one she did with Netflix. Let's be honest. Look, for me, I can't imagine her doing this. She wants to be the next president of the United States. I don't think she really wants to do this. She's in every interview. She doesn't ever talk about her time on this show. So
no, she's very embarrassed about it, isn't she?
Yeah, she's embarrassed.
I mean, of all the things she's done...
Actually, that'll be one of the things I'll be shouting about. But, yeah, she keeps very quiet about this job. What do you reckon, Danielle?
Yeah, I agree. Because it's coming back, isn't it, with my former co-host, Stephen Mulhern.
Oh, it's amazing that Danielle Nicholls has managed to mention Stephen Mulhern. Who did you used to work with again?
I know.
Did you work with Stephen Mulhern?
Have I never told you?
No.
Oh, no.
Let me tell you.
Yes, he's bringing it back, but they don't have briefcase ladies.
Let me tell you, the only person that doesn't know about your relationship with Stephen Mulhern is the upper Chinchilla tribe of Guatemala.
No, I've told them.
Yeah, they actually know about it.
Yeah.
But
anyway,
she keeps this a massive secret. She's like, you know, doesn't want to be linked with this show in any way, shape or form.
No.
So for me, I've got to say, false.
Yeah.
It is absolutely false.
Oh.
OK, so to Ollie and to Lacey, Nike has been criticised for using a trans woman to sell sports bras for women.
Well, that's actually true, because they actually put a biological man, Dylan Mulvaney, who's a TikToker with 10 million followers, and they made him model for Nike women's sports bras. I mean, how ridiculous is that? He has the flattest chest in the world, so why on earth would he need a sports bra?
He did look to me like a skinny bloke. I mean, I'm not being funny. But look, you've got a bit of a background in this. You're a bit worried about the trans issue. Tell us a little bit about it.
You know, so Dylan's been getting a lot of partnerships with women's brands recently, and this was just the one in the latest. He's now the face of Bud Light, Olay Skincare, even Tampax. Can you imagine he was promoting Tampax, saying that he carries them in his handbag just in case he needs them? I mean, that's the world we live in today. He's getting rewarded for that. So, you know, I think many women were outraged by him being the face of a sportswear brand when there are so many female athletes out there that are deserving.
But you shot to fame being trans-Korean.
Yeah.
Now, I must admit, I didn't understand it myself.
Yeah, do you know, I don't think I understood it myself at the time. I was just going through a phase. It was an identity struggle, and I was like, why can't I identify as this if everyone else is changing their gender and identity? I was just going along with what the woke people were telling me, and, you know...
Ollie, I am trans hot. I self-identify as extremely attractive. Right,
OK, do we have to respect your pronouns?
You absolutely do have to respect that. But, Lacey, isn't this just a slap in the face for women? Because if you've got all these women now, they're really struggling to get into sport. You know, in elite sports, sometimes they're just booted out the way for that, you know, that weightlifter that looks like Meatloaf and all the rest of them. And I just think that now to have a biological man modelling a sports bra is just a further insult.
Definitely. This Dylan chap, he annoys me beyond belief because he is the flavour of the month. And unfortunately, all these brands are now buying into it because it's a great advertisement scheme. Why wouldn't you go with the hot topic? But so many women are being sidelined for this chap who's apparently been on HRT for the past year, but still has no adverse boobs at all. But he's modelling bras and Tampax. It's just beyond insulting to women out there, real women out there.
But what is a woman? We're not allowed to say. Keir Starmer still won't say what
The
one
dictionary's
is.
changed the definition as well. It's someone that identifies as a female. I mean, how crazy is that?
I mean, we are erasing women, and I'm proud to be a woman. But you know, if I speak about this, I get intimidated and silenced. And
Caitlyn Jenner said that though, they're erasing
Yes.
women.
Or they call you
Exactly.
cis
She's
women,
trans.
which many women find offensive.
And
Cis.
you know, women have been through so much, and particularly in sport. You know, with
Lizzie, you know, what are these brands gaining from any of this?
Well, you know what? Nike should be ashamed at themselves. It's a money-making, I think, campaign.
Gimmick.
The same way it is a gimmick, but the same way Nicola Sturgeon did with the trans community. They should be treated with care and understanding, not used as political footballs or a money-making machine.
Go on then. There we go. I tell you what, I think the only thing they're gaining is a bad reputation and a bad name for themselves for foolishly aligning themselves with these people. But you have people like Caitlyn Jenner who've spoken out about this, especially blaming Nike. Because there are women that are simply not being given the opportunities instead of these people. It's ridiculous.
Totally. And I was in awe of Nike. Growing up with them, they were such a big, iconic brand. But I, for one, will not be buying any of their stuff again.
Because you're right, they forget what that takes away from a woman. That was a woman's job, essentially, to advertise their sports brand.
I have to say to you, my brother now has got 2 daughters, and they're really into football, and he's now, I think, the girls' football team manager and all that sort of thing, as my dad was the boys' football team manager. But, you know, I just feel like they've got the opportunity to get involved in football now, and then you feel like, well, women have only been involved for about 5 minutes, and now they're being pushed out the door.
And we have to say as well, a lot of these transgender athletes were mediocre when they were competing in male sports. There was a guy called Leah Thomas who, in the men's race for swimming, was about 529th in the rank. Suddenly, when he's in the women's race, he's a 6'2" muscular guy. He wins the race time and time again. So a lot of these people are mediocre in men's sports, and they think, you know, maybe I can win a prize. Best way to win a prize these days: say that you're a woman. Everyone's got to go along with it.
But you've got a book coming out. What's it called? Gender Madness.
Gender Madness. Just talking about how the world has gone crazy, how women are being erased, and how children are being attacked via education, via TikTok, and via all these kind of drag shows.
Sorry to interrupt, but do you feel like you're a victim of all this?
You know, I don't ever like to call myself a victim. I certainly had a lot of issues with identity struggles, and I was bullied because of that. But I don't like to label myself as a victim. You know, I'm not Meghan Markle. I'm not a professional victim. You know, I'm not one of these woke people that's, I have such a hard life. You know, I have to accept my past. I have to move on from it, learn from it, and try and help people.
I will tell you one thing. If I was given a dukedom and $100 million, I'd be willing to bleat about whatever you want. Just, I'm not bothered.
Yeah.
I believe the Dukedom of Ireland is available. That'd be fruity, wouldn't it? So, OK, so has Nike been criticised for bringing in a trans athlete to market their sports bra?
Yes,
true.
100%.
It's absolutely true! Now, the next question to Danielle and Lizzie. Vladimir Putin, probably true. Right, OK. There we go. Vladimir Putin has banned politicians from leaving Russia. Is it true or false?
It's going to be true, isn't it? I mean, it is. This man will you know, he's a dictatorous monster.
And as well, other important people as well, not just politicians.
Danielle, are you afraid of him, or do you think he's a nutter?
Yes, I think he's terrifying. Yeah, I do think he's terrifying because of the power that he has. It's all fine and well being a little bit eccentric or a bit of a nutter, but not when you're the gaffer. Then there's a problem, isn't there?
It's terrible, and I think we're doing the right thing. We have to support Ukraine in every way, and that, you know, today people were saying, should we still be giving to this war? But yes, because who knows? It could be us. It could be us next.
I'll tell you my big concern about Vladimir Putin. You know, when you have misappropriated $200 billion of state assets, when you've behaved the way that he's behaved, when you've shot opponents, when you've rounded people up and when you've invaded the country, you don't walk out and retire. I think the problem that he's got is he's shot in the car park, and therefore he's going to cling on until the last moment. And who knows how dangerous that's going to be, Lacey?
Yeah, absolutely. And I tell you what, the Russian politicians probably could leave via the window because he likes throwing things out the window, doesn't he? No, but I mean, what does this actually say about his premiership? That he's got such lack of faith within his even inner circle that he has to keep them close to home out of fear that they're going to be, corrupted by the West or whatever the incentive behind it is. It's barbaric, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I just don't understand what he thinks he's doing. I mean, let's be honest, the Blitzkrieg failed completely. The reality was, when he couldn't take Kiev in the first 48 hours, bluntly, because the parachute regiment got javelined, and that was basically the end of the invasion. Now it's just a case of them just, you know, this meat grinder that's going on and on and on. Personally, I have to say, feel very sorry for ordinary Russian kids who are being dragged into it.
Yeah, absolutely, and they're not allowed to speak about it in schools, and they're, you know, pulling a lot of these Russian teenagers, they're throwing them into the war, and, you know, they're cannon fodder. He doesn't care how many people die. Hundreds of thousands of people die. He's just throwing them in there just to keep the war going. It's not about winning anymore. It's about keeping it going and trying to fight with the Western powers against him.
And it's worth pointing out that the Putin children and grandchildren do not and have not lived in Russia for an absolutely significant amount of time. So, once again, it's not his family that are going to get into any trouble.
Exactly.
I understand Switzerland's lovely this time of year. But, I mean, but, you know, you're a mother, you think about it. These kids, a little bit older than your eldest son, but not significantly older, he's 16, you know, being thrown into this just because this lunatic is obsessed with stealing money from the Russian taxpayer.
It's another example, isn't it, of someone having too much power and telling us what we can and can't think and what we can and can't say, really.
Yeah, but we should have seen this coming. We didn't do enough to stop this. I really do think so.
Anyway, has Vladimir Putin banned politicians from leaving Russia? Is it true or false?
Absolutely true.
Of course it's true! OK. Just time to talk about the prize this week, and it's an absolute corker. We've always wanted to have a little bit of livestock, and this week it's an owl. Yes, that's absolutely right. This lovely barn owl can be yours. You can pick either male or female, but I'm not paying for a breeding pair. You have to pick it up from Speyside. Also, it's going to need a significant amount of vaccinations and medical treatment. The approximate bill will be about £1,500 for you to take delivery of the bird, but you are very welcome to have it. Now, I have to say to you, I've been trying to get an otter, but an owl was the only thing we'd have. The otter just cannot be done, apparently. So the owl is winging its way to whichever one of you wants to go to Speyside to pick it up. Anyway, OK, to Ollie and to Lacey. Disney have been slammed for censoring songs in the remake of The Little Mermaid. In the classic song, Kiss the Girl, lyrics are going to be changed because apparently the kiss was non-consensual.
Well, I mean, it's Disney. It doesn't surprise me. They have become so woke. And we're seeing now in Florida, the governor's trying to basically, you know, pressure them to... He's now taken away their special privileges and rights. It's the Reedy Creek area where Disney was basically its own government. So he's taken away those rights because they're so woke and they're interfering with politics. So it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, the new Little Mermaid does look very woke.
Yes.
I think it wouldn't surprise me.
Ollie, here's what I don't understand about all of this, you know, changing lyrics and changing whatever. You know, I'm reading about, you know, the Roald Dahl book, you have to take out the word fat, but you can read it in a thong in primary schools, and that's deemed acceptable.
Absolutely. I mean, a drag queen can go and read whatever they want about pronouns or about sex. Totally fine, but a Roald Dahl children's book that is so cute and so innocent is cancelled. So it really wouldn't surprise me if they did change the pronouns of Ariel, maybe.
See, but this story really fascinated me because I had a look into it thinking it was just going to be another one of those ridiculous woke stories. But this actually comes from the 8-time Academy Award winner who actually wrote the song in the first place. And he decided
I'm depressed, lady.
No, I know. Well, Barnsley isn't here, so I need to do some research for this quiz.
Don't worry. Barnes has applied the cream and he'll be back next week.
I am Barnes. I am ashamed.
Don't worry. The itching won't last that long.
But no, he just felt it needed modernising. But the song itself, it isn't forcing someone to kiss a girl. It's more just, go on, get in there, son, go kiss her.
But this is also, going crazy. I mean, they've done it in Sleeping Beauty, haven't they? They didn't. You know that.
But if you watch the actual programme, if you watch it, he doesn't force to kiss her. He actually doesn't kiss her.
But it's a cartoon, you know. We shouldn't even be having a debate about
she
a
wants
kid's
him
film.
to kiss her. That's the whole point.
But we shouldn't be, as Ollie said, we shouldn't be debating about this. It shouldn't be happening.
No.
Why are they rewriting our history?
Danielle, I don't understand how The Little Mermaid is sexualisation, even though it's a cartoon. And then drag story time is perfectly acceptable. I don't understand what the rules are.
Exactly, there are no rules. They're just making it up as they go along. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's actually quite a beautiful moment within a story of where a couple are falling in love. And you know what? That's really beautiful.
Yeah.
The two of them feel exactly the same. It's a lovely thing to sit and watch with your kids.
See, I told them we should have a female panel. That's a very touching moment, Danielle.
But I'm going to say, though, if Keir Starmer does get in, we're going to have more of this wokeness. We really are. We really are.
I really do worry about that. But, I mean, look, are we just now in a position, Lacey, where people are just trying to find offence at anything they can think of?
Well, absolutely. In this same movie, they decided to change the ethnicity of Little Mermaid herself. She's being played by, I think, by a mixed-race actress, which I have to question the thought process behind that. Surely, we're talking about a hybrid fish. Why do we have to be changing the complexion of her skin?
She doesn't even have red hair.
Anyone? I know,
no,
absolutely.
It's an offence to the actual original cartoon who we all love, you know, and cherish.
It's just another Disney film that I'm definitely going to be missing, I think.
And the other thing is, all of these streaming services actually do really badly when there's all these woke programmes on them, which is amazing, really, because all these young people who profess to be woke at school actually won't watch the stuff when they get home.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Disney Plus numbers are going down all the time because they keep pushing these cartoons where they're teaching kids about pronouns and gender and stuff, yet then now they're attacking The Little Mermaid, which is the most innocent cartoon out there, about a woman with a tail. You know, how can we be changing that? It's ridiculous.
A classic. It's actually
a classic.
The biggest thing streaming online at the moment, apparently, is Friends and The Office, which apparently is horrendous.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, they just...
But we can't joke anymore. You know, satire's gone. This is what is so
Look at all
scary.
the comedians that get cancelled for saying jokes on stage. You know, comedy should be off limits. You know, you can say what you want. People get offended. That's, you know, that's on them. But, you know,
I'm not allowed to be
wolf
wolf-whistled anymore. That's the saddest thing.
I'm gutted as well.
I'm sure you like being wolf-whistled.
I love being wolf-whistled.
OK, so have Disney been slammed for attempting to edit The Little Mermaid because of a non-consensual kiss?
I would
sadly,
say yes.
sadly, true.
It's absolutely true! So far, it's 40 points each. Now, Lizzie, I just want to ask you, are you sitting comfortably?
I am indeed, very
In that
comfy.
case, watch this screen.
It was
Yeah, on the right side. We've just got to lift Lizzie up a bit. Bring her up a bit in the... Oh!
Lizzie, I'm lifting your chair.
I thought you were there. Actually, you just reminded me. I've got to call my lawyers on that. I'm still injured.
Lizzie, let me tell you something. Where there's blame, there's a claim.
Yeah, exactly.
You've been injured at work.
Honestly, that did hurt. Naughty Chuck pulled the chair away. I honestly, my feet went flying. Thankfully, I had underwear on, or else poor Ash would have got a
I mean, just in general, thankfully, you've got underwear on.
Not always. Yeah, no, it still hurts. Thanks for asking.
OK, talking of rare beauties, Nicola Sturgeon has been lined up for the next series of Strictly Come Dine With Me. Sorry, Strictly Come Dance.
Strictly Come Dine With Me.
No, it's Strictly Come Dancing. It's not Strictly Come Dancing.
So they've combined Strictly and Come Dine With Me.
Well, OK, let me ask you this. Which would you prefer, Strictly Come Dancing or Strictly Come Dine With Me? I bet she whips up a mean haggis.
I'd like to sit around a table.
I do know about this because I know them at Strictly, and the trouble is they did book her, but they've already got Jimmy Cranky as one of the dancers, and the judges can't tell them apart.
It has to be said, and we're not going to comment in full, but she probably does need some money for legal fees at the moment.
I was going to say.
It probably could come in handy, couldn't it? Just a bit of cash on the side.
I love the way nobody was willing to fully comment at that moment.
But they were a bit worried about security with people's, you know, handbags and stuff, because, you know, we want to know where the money's gone.
Absolutely. Now, look, Danielle, do you approve of former politicians getting involved in all this sort of stuff? The Matt Hancock going into the jungle, you know?
Oh, don't get me started. I hated that. I think...
But that was you. Was that you just hating Matt Hancock?
Yeah.
Or the concept of a politician?
But both together. No, but like, Dan Widdicombe did Strictly, is that right?
And Ed Balls.
Ed Balls was amazing.
Yeah, and I loved her in it. Was she still working at the time, or has she retired?
No, she'd retired.
She'd retired.
That's where my problem is, because
I
I'm
agree.
absolutely fine with it. Absolutely, when you've finished doing the job.
Yeah.
So you
Go
don't want
for it.
MPs
Go
to have
crazy.
a second job?
No, I don't think they should be allowed to. Well, not a second job, which I believe is a slight conflict of interest, because...
I think, I have to say, and I know I'm on my own in this, but I genuinely think that members of Parliament hanging round Westminster all the time, doing absolutely nothing, is a waste of taxpayers' money. I'd force them to have second jobs and cut their pay by at least 80%. They can have 25 grand a year plus the bus fare, as far as I'm concerned.
As long as they're not on my TV screen.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
Go on, then.
We'll go with that. No, but think of that. Would you really want to see Nicola Sturgeon dancing?
I thought you were going to say, would you really want to see Nicholas Sturgeon?
There's
I
another show.
have to say, would you really like to see Nicola Sturgeon ? And I'd have said no. But there we have it.
But she's a big personality, love her or loathe her. She's a big character, isn't she?
And you
Probably
can
do
even
quite
look at
well
the
in
most
it.
unlikable, Matt Hancock. He came out of I'm a Celeb with a much greater personality
And got a
trait.
book deal.
Well, the book was always happening. He did it pure for
But
advertisement.
you know, everyone was ringing for him to do
but-
the task.
but
You'd ring to keep her in just to see her slip over.
But you were saying Matt Hancock came out more popular.
Definitely.
He was about as popular as a poo in the swimming pool.
But exactly. But you know, he really did come out there with a much improved reputation behind him.
Because he couldn't get any worse, Lacey, that's why.
I know, but I also remember John Sargent. People were outraged with him on Strictly because he stayed in. And eventually, he quit of his own accord, even though people were paying for him to stay in. Because like, it's not fair anymore. People just want me to make an idiot of myself. Like, no, that's exactly what we want to see, John. We want to see you fall over.
If you sign up for it.
Anne Whitaker, remember being dragged across the floor.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. I loved it.
Do you remember when John Sargent once said the person he most disliked in politics was John Major? And somebody points out, is that because you were an inferior rank of John, whereas you were a John Sargent? He was a John Major. Oh, it's like one big Christmas cracker, isn't it? OK, so Nicola Sturgeon, is she going to do the next series of Strictly Come Dancing?
I really doubt it. I'm going to say no.
It is false!
That was The Woke That Was. Continues after the break. Welcome back to That Was The Woke That Was.
Sadiq Khan is considering introducing a pay-as-you-drive scheme in London. Motorists will be charged depending on how far they drive and how many passengers they have in the car.
Yeah. So this is his new thing to replace ULEZ, which is ridiculous. It's barbaric in itself, but the second part of it is even more ridiculous. The fact that it actually depends on how many people you've got in the car. So gone are the days of having, you know, carpooling, car sharing to save money and get less cars on the road. No. The more people you've got now, the more you're going to pay. How on earth does that work?
Now, Lacey, I just wonder whether he'll exempt his own motorcade.
That's very true.
You know, when they said, oh, he's moving City Hall to the East End, he still lives in Tooting. Not a problem when you've got 4 chauffeur-driven cars.
No, I know. Isn't that ridiculous? He's got his own motor. Why does he need it?
And his Range Rover is £300,000. He's got and he drives around with that. He flies to America preaching about climate change and stuff.
Yeah.
But really, he's just another hypocrite.
It has to
Full
be
of
said.
Potter.
Whatever you say, Ken Livingstone and Boris Johnson got on the tube.
Or on the bike.
And the bike.
The Boris
Right?
bike.
Absolutely.
He's such a hypocrite.
Yes.
I mean, do you think that Sadiq Khan's destroying London?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think you'd struggle to find anyone, in case you want to ask the audience.
Well, let's ask the audience.
There you go.
I mean, I have to say, what a waste of time this is going to be. Does anybody in the audience like Sadiq Khan? Put your hand up. Does anybody think that he should leave as London Mayor immediately? There we go. And the other 500 people over there all agreed as well. Yes. But look, are we ever going to get rid of Sadiq Khan? I mean, I think he's got a remarkable ability to just to blame other people for his own failings. You look at the knife crime epidemic, where he managed somehow to blame the government. I remember the other thing, when he didn't give PPE to bus drivers, he claimed it was the government's fault, get this, because they hadn't told him to do it.
I mean, that's a typical tactic of woke politicians. They always blame everyone else for their own failings. He's been the mayor of London now for a number of years, and he's the one introducing this. White van man drivers that are driving into London, they can't afford to do their job. Plumbers can't afford to do their job because they're paying this every day. Then you've got congestion charge. It's simply an attack on, you know, working-class people.
It feels
It's a money-making machine. He just is thinking about the money, and I don't know how he keeps getting away with it. He's the biggest hypocrite ever. And, I mean, I heard on the grapevine that actually Jeremy Corbyn could be throwing his hat in the ring.
That would be worse.
Anyway, pay as you drive, Sadiq Khan, is he introducing it? True or false?
True.
Yeah,
It's
true.
absolutely true! And that is 96 points each, so it's a real dead heat here. OK, popular comedian Roy Chubby Brown has been banned at the Empire Theatre in County Durham after the council has said they don't like his jokes.
Can I just say, I'm surprised that he's still around. I haven't heard from him since 1984.
Do you know what? It's quite a big
Brown.
thing. It's an up north thing, I think.
Well, he plays in Blackpool a huge amount.
Yeah.
Does he?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. I'm glad he's still around and kicking. That's what I can say.
Are you saying he's one of those people where you go, still alive?
He's
He's getting on a bit now, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, well, this sounds pretty much like it's true, do you reckon?
Absolutely, it is true, yeah.
To give you the youth perspective on it, perhaps, not to offend.
Excuse me.
I love the way that
That's rather ageist.
Lacey's just called them a couple of old bags, so that's great.
There's nothing wrong with being perimenopausal, I'll have
Wags
you.
or bags? As we both anyway,
We'll take wags.
Hang on, you're both wags and you're both... Well...
No!
Nearly lost your job there, Walker. Nearly lost your job.
Yeah.
No, I hadn't heard of him per se, but then obviously because of the stories that have kicked off, I've just told you it's true. Because of the stories, I then obviously did research into him, and it's such a very sad story that he's been kicked out of many places now, often by the councils themselves, because he is quoted to say he thinks misogynistic comments, homophobic comments, racist comments. Name one comic that doesn't have any of those kind of
Jimmy
jokes in
Carr,
there.
can I just say, why is it OK for Jimmy Carr?
Because Jimmy
I mean,
Carr's
don't get me
reached-
wrong, I'm defending the comedian, by the way. I am
No, I get
all
that.
for the comedians. Ricky Gervais, I think he's
But
amazing.
I've never seen anything from Roy Chubby Brown that's worse than, say, the joke about Jordan that Frankie Boyle made.
Yeah, that was disgusting.
Exactly. But it's because
It's because it's small venues and his audience is an older generation of audience, absolutely.
It's because they can attack them, because once you're Jimmy Carr, Frankie Boyle, you reach a level of being untouchable where, you know, you've just accepted
It's
I'm
very
offensive,
cruel.
deal with it. But because he's not reached that level, he's been thrown under the bus.
We've lost comedy, though, haven't we?
Yeah.
Having a joke.
When
We're
you have
so
to censor
scared to
comedy
be
in
offended.
films and movies. It's
Yeah.
like being in a dystopian world. It really is.
It is.
I mean,
Just because you're offended doesn't make you right.
Do you know something? We had my dad at the beginning of the show, and he's in the audience. You know, at the end of the day, he's basically given up on modern comedy and he's just watching reruns of stuff from the 1970s and 80s.
Yeah,
Because the reality is it was significantly better.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
everybody was just a bit more chilled out and stopped taking themselves all so very seriously. It's an art form. It's a sense of release. When my daughter died, we made jokes still, not obviously about that, but you have to laugh because life is so difficult and so tough that dark humour and just being able to just laugh is sometimes the only thing that gets you through the day.
It
I used to
really
sit and
does.
put something funny on, so I didn't think about it just before I was going to sleep. And if you take that away from us, that's really sad.
No, honestly, when I was getting divorced, I watched the two Ronnies the whole time. I was laughing. Everyone was like, aren't you upset about it? But it made you get through it.
Now, for a bonus point,
Oh, no.
do you know, can you name either Roy Chubby Brown's real name or the town he was the mayor of in the League of Gentlemen? Either of them.
Not at all.
Because the answer to both...
Royston. His name's Royston.
The answer to both
Oh,
is
go on.
Royston Vasey.
Well,
OK, so has he been cancelled in County Durham?
True.
Yeah.
It's absolutely and unfortunately true! OK, to Ollie and to Lacey, a bit depressing.
OK.
Oh, no.
Parents in Ireland are protesting against the inclusion of LGBT pornography books in the children's section of their local library.
I would say 100% true, because we're seeing so many schools and so many libraries, including these books now, where they're teaching kids about sex. They're teaching them, you've got, you know, naked cartoons of adults, you know, having sex, teaching the kid how to do doggy style and stuff. So I would say it's 100% true. These drag story hours, they're pushing these books as well.
Look, Ollie, I'll be honest with you, I completely agree with you in terms of being against this, but let me put the alternative argument. You know, we live in a media age. You know, young people are going to be are going to see all sorts of imagery on social media. Isn't there an argument for sort of educating them in a professional way rather than just allowing them to see whatever they see online?
Yeah, I mean, of course, at a certain age, but you can't have, like, 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds getting access to these things. And when you have schools teaching them about these things, they don't need to know about that until they're, you know...
In this instant, I think the libraries are saying that they are all age appropriate.
Right.
So just to make that clear, because from what I've looked into it, it's age appropriate.
Are we overly paranoid about this stuff? Are we prudes?
No, we're not prudes.
just trying to protect children.
I really don't think we are prudes at all. It's confusing children. Let children be children.
Yeah.
And the other thing that strikes me when you're talking about sex education, I mean, what is it that what is the victory here? What is achievement? Because you think about it, you know, the only reason teenage pregnancy is going down is because the proliferation of contraception. You know, you've got you've got teenagers, STIs are out of control. You've got children having sex here, there, and everywhere. Relationship breakdowns. I mean, nothing seems to be achieved from any of this that's in any way positive.
Am I the only person who thinks, though, that we did have sex younger when we were young? Am I the only person who thinks that?
Come on.
Talk
Come on.
through yourself,
Now, at this
Danielle.
point, I will tell everyone that Danielle's husband is the manager of Charlton Athletic. Come on, Danielle. Go for it. Go for it. Come on.
When did he score?
Good one. I was going to say something really done away.
I was 16.
There you go.
No, the thing is, I don't know if this is just my own children, but yes.
But you.
I think we. That's a very collective thing to say, isn't it? I think that when I was younger, I'm now 44, and when I was in my teens, I did think that children had sex younger than they do now. That's my opinion.
You've previously advanced the theory to me that children actually are a little bit more wrapped in cotton wool than they used to be. Parents in Ireland are protesting against the inclusion of pornographic books in children's sections of libraries. Is it true or false?
True.
Yeah, do you want to go true?
I would say it was true, would you?
Yeah, we'll go true.
Unfortunately, it's true!
That was The Woke That Was. Continues after the break. Welcome back to That Was The Woke That Was.
Right.
That was a very serious one.
Right.
Two audience members were thrown out of a theatre by riot police for singing loudly during the Bodyguard musical.
Right. This is so awful.
It's not actually true, though. Can I just say?
Go for it.
Right? I've looked into this. I watched Melody, who's one of the Pussycat Dolls who performed it. I've shown what a voice. What a voice. You should just be quiet and listen to her. She's amazing. But it isn't that. They were rowdy. They were standing up. They had to stop the show 10 minutes before the end.
Were they drunk? Or...
I don't know, but they were essentially causing trouble. So it's very interesting to say, oh, they stopped the show because they were singing along. It technically is true, but apparently someone's going, and I will always
How were they doing it again? How were they doing it again?
I can sing, so I'm
Actually,
just doing
they
it
didn't get fined,
drama.
though. You know, they didn't get fined because
No.
they sang to the police, I will always love you.
They got chucked out. They brought the police, didn't they?
Yes.
Yeah.
I bought my mother tickets to Shakespeare at the Lowry, and my dad put his phone on silent and got phoned all the way through until he basically got ejected. Front row tickets as well.
But I have to say, if
Stan, have you been in trouble?
yes, he looks like
We
he's in
haven't backed him
trouble.
up, don't worry.
No, but I have to say, when I go to the theatre or the cinema, it so annoys me when people munch popcorn really loudly. I don't know whether I got really... But the noise, and you just think, be quiet. Enjoy the show.
I don't understand why they sell minstrels, because they're the crunchiest ones of them all.
I know.
They sell something soft.
Exactly.
Cola bottles or something.
I do love the debate this has started, though, because, you know, whether the facts are completely accurate or not, you've got a lot of people on both sides for this. Yeah, you should be allowed to sing along in musicals. No, you're not. And you had, for example, Vanessa Feltz, our own talkTV's Vanessa Feltz. She said, yeah, no, it's great. Of course you want to go and have a sing-along. I'm not paying 50, 100, or if you're in the West End here, sometimes £150 to hear some idiot next to me singing out of tune.
Oh, she'll be gutted.
But it's true. Actually, did you know I was in a musical?
Absolutely awful.
I actually was in a West End musical called Wag the Musical, honestly. The Gay
So
Times.
you played yourself?
I did. I played myself. 4 out of 5 in the Gay Times. I was very happy about that.
Wow.
Oh, well done. So...
How hard did you study for the role?
No, wait. How long did it last?
3 months, I have, you
Was
know.
it like
You did very well.
exceptionally bad, says Time Out.
No, but what used to be annoying when I was on stage with people with their phones, and you could see them, probably they were bored.
Yeah, because the face lights up.
It really does put you off.
I thought you're not allowed your phone on.
No.
Yeah, well, they do it, you know.
OK, I think we know where this is going. Were they thrown out for being, let's go with rowdy and singing at the Bodyguard in Manchester?
They were.
It is true! Yes. This question, well, I'll just read it out. OnlyFans models are claiming tax relief on boob jobs and dental surgery on their tax returns, according to the HMRC. Is that true or false?
I would say it's true. I mean, I've had a lot of plastic surgery. I would never declare it as an expense, but I think they would class it because it's their job. They need to have the big boobs. They'll make more money from that. So I would probably say they're actually doing that. I mean, it sounds crazy to put that as an expense, but...
I suppose you can always... I suppose you can...
It's their job, I guess.
Yeah.
They have to have big boobs.
Absolutely.
Big boobs equals big money.
You don't have to have big boobs. That bloke, the Nike fella...
Well, he had flat boobs. He should have probably got some boobs.
Whatever it was.
Yeah.
Ironically, now he's getting more notoriety for having no boobs.
Exactly.
But, alas, we've done the question on him.
Maybe I'll start a new trend.
So, Lizzie,
Oh, no.
Lizzie, have you got anything to contribute to this discussion?
I wonder who's going to come
As a
to
woman
me.
with big boobs.
Yes.
So, Lizzie, it's fair
I
to
should
say-
have done that advert for Nike. Can I just tell you, though, the viewers are actually getting a bit of relief from this as well. Light relief. Hand relief? No. Sorry,
Lizzie, out. Oh, sorry. I'm not having it out. Get out. I've never had to send anybody out of the studio.
OK, I'm going.
We're not doing this. I know it's after the watershed, but you can either talk about your boobs or you can talk about
something
news.
else.
You can't
Boobs
talk
on the news.
No,
No, but I have to say, look, as a former model, you put on your travel expenses, what you wear. It's no different than buying yourself a pair of boobs.
I'll tell you what, my father almost took that seat for you. Took over. Anyway, OK, so OnlyFans models, are they claiming tax relief on their boobs?
I can imagine.
I would say yes, because it is part of their business. That's how they make
Should
money.
we go for it?
I would say
true.
yes. Yeah.
True?
Yeah.
Absolutely true! Not a bad idea, actually. OK, there's a new parenting trend in Australia called Theybees, where mothers and fathers let their young children choose their gender.
Yes.
Oh, please tell me this isn't
It's
true.
true.
This is going too far. Do you know, I'm getting sick of this now. It really is
Babies,
going too
because they don't know what they are yet.
Danielle, are these people just misguided but kind of quite nice fools, or is there something more dangerous about it?
No, I think the first. I don't think there's anything dangerous about it. I think
There is. I
don't know about what
think
you
there is
think.
dangerous.
No, I think when you have a baby, you think you're the only person in the whole world who's ever had a baby, and that feeling, I think, is a natural thing that happens, and you get in your little baby bubble, and all sense of common sense goes out the window. No, and you puree everything, and you make it from fresh,
those-
and then you have your second one, and then they bring themselves up.
I can't believe that Danielle's principal contribution to mothering was pureeing things. Of all the things you could have mentioned as your achievements, I was very good at pureeing.
And breastfeeding.
Oh, yeah, well-
It's all to do with the food. No, as a mum, that's all. It is a funny thing. That's why your mum always says, "Have you had something to eat?"
Yeah.
Like it's your main job. Yeah.
But if
And I
if
think
you're
that
teaching a baby to be non-binary or
It's
to be
ridiculous.
trans, they're going to grow up becoming that without learning it on their
It
own.
is
So that's
ridiculous.
the
That's where it is
danger.
dangerous.
But hang on, Ollie. Look, I believe that is a dangerous thing, right? But I might be wrong. Is it actually dangerous for a kid to be non-binary from birth? Does it make any difference?
No, you know, there's tomboys, there's boys that are more girly. It's absolutely fine, but that's up to them to decide on their own. They shouldn't have from birth this kind of set identity that's given to them by their parents.
I'll tell you one thing that I object to with the tomboy thing. From what I can see, and in fact, we had a lovely lady who phoned in talkTV who was talking about this. Look, a tomboy was basically just a girl who just had an interest in sports, right? Well, there wasn't anything sort of particularly bizarre about it, and certainly I don't think it was a particular reference to gender, was it? I mean, that was just they like boys' sports, don't they?
Right, it wasn't a gender thing back then. You know, most of these people would grow up to be very feminine. You've got Angelina Jolie's daughter, who was a tomboy, and now is super
Charlie.
feminine and super
Yeah, because
beautiful.
I was a tomboy.
Because they hadn't piled the weight on, had they?
I was
think
a
you've got
tomboy.
good point, but it is dangerous. And you know, I was a tomboy. Would you believe it or
I
not?
can't imagine that.
I loved all sports, football, everything else. But it's dangerous, and it's scientifically dangerous. Men and women are different. I mean, if you give a man beetroot, his blood pressure will go down. You have different effects for women, you know, and that's what we've got to think about.
And it's dangerous when these kids are getting double mastectomies. So in America, 13, 14-year-olds get double mastectomies based on this identity they're being told by either parents or teachers. That's the real danger. It's fine for them to be, you know, feminine or masculine, but...
Ollie, I genuinely think the people at the Tavistock Clinic who are amputating children's genitals, I personally believe that they're going to prison in the fullness of time. Do you think they're in a lot of trouble?
You know, the tide is turning. We're seeing some states in the US passing laws where people that have been through this gender transition can now sue them, so these clinics will be liable. We're actually more ahead in the UK. We're shutting down Tavistock because of the horror stories. I think we're going to see lawsuits happening, and I think that will eventually lead to a change in this happening.
Well, I sincerely hope you're right, Ollie. Anyway, OK, so is Theybees the new craze in Australia?
Sadly, I think it's true.
It's absolutely, unfortunately, true!
That was The Woke That Was continues after the break. Welcome back to That Was The Woke That Was.
So this is the decider for who gets the owl. Right, come on, it's a beautiful owl, right?
Did I tell you I was once a taxidermist?
Ooh.
And I once stuffed an owl. True story.
Well, don't be stuffing this owl, Danielle.
True story.
Oh, I love Orville.
I mean, that'll get the animal libbers on us, won't it?
Right.
The owl will not be harmed. Right. OK, this is...
I won't pick it up.
Of all the things we've asked that's controversial on this show, I believe this might be the most controversial question because of the way it's worded, but I'm just going to read it out.
Oh.
Right. A primary school in Leeds has banned pupils from playing tag in favour of games rooted in love. Is it true or false? Now, I would have called it tick.
Tick? There's something wrong with you.
Not tag, tick.
It's Tig. Tig.
Hey!
Tag.
No, you
Tag.
just misheard.
Tag.
You misheard
Like
as a
tag,
child.
you're it. Yeah.
Tag.
You were playing
Is it
Tig.
tag?
What the hell's
Tag, you're it, yeah.
Hold on.
It's Tig.
Tick's like a bug that sticks on animals when they're
But
dead.
a lot of Andre's fellow pupils had tags on, didn't they, at school?
Oh, that's...
And the rest of them had ticks.
Well, I have to say, we had an argument, a not very interesting argument before the show, about whether we should put tick or tag or tig in this, and then we just decided we didn't care all that much. Anyway, do we believe that kids are being mollycoddled in schools?
Yeah.
I think that's a fundamental point.
Absolutely. I mean, we were all brought up with nursery rhymes. If you now look back at the words, they were horrific. I mean, Ring a Ring a Rosie was about the Black Death, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Humpty Dumpty's about a man injuring himself and, you know...
Yeah.
I mean, look, at least he saw the positive side of the plague. You know? I mean, it's British spirit, that isn't it? Let's get
Rockabye Baby in the treetop is about a child falling to its death, isn't it?
Exactly. And now we're not allowed to sing Bar Bar Black Sheep.
Now, my understanding is, Danielle, that you are a school counsellor.
I am on the school council. I've been part of the discussions as to what games are allowed to be played in the playground.
Kiss.
This is absolutely true because it's ridiculous, but the girls get hurt because the boys are too rough and all these kind of... There's been loads of games that have been
What
banned.
games have been banned at your
British
school?
Bulldog has been
Which is an excellent game.
Red Rover has been banned.
What is Red Rover?
Do you all hold hands and run? Is that...
And I thought that was the Okie Coke.
So as you recruit, as you tag someone and recruit, you become a longer line of children holding hands. Do you remember? And then it was a brilliant game. And then you had to run and try and break through the barrier.
What about Knockdown Ginger?
It was so much fun.
She loved it, didn't she?
No, that's not
Knockdown Ginger.
Yeah, you mean knock a door on. But
Can you do
kiss chase?
Oi, why did you look at me when you said knock down a ginger? Dad, come on, get her out.
You're picking on me.
Bit by bit, they ban these games from schools, more and more. It's really sad.
What about Conkers?
Yeah, you're not allowed conkers.
No, you're not.
You're not allowed conkers.
Seriously?
This is absolutely true. And
what do kids do?
Well, I stuck up for all these games because... So in our school, fortunately, we've got the space where there's an area now where the girls who, if they want to just be calm and quiet and they don't want to be roughed around by the boys, they can sit and they can...
Sorry.
They can make up dance routines.
You've got... Sorry. She's just created a female-only safe space.
That's awful.
You're a presenter on talkTV.
No, it's a quiet space It's a quiet space, and very fortunately, the school have made it beautiful because it's got pictures of my daughter who died, so it's very beautiful, and it's a little quiet space where anyone, not girls, anyone can go and they can have quiet play, and then the rest of the playground can be loads of fun, and everyone can get on with playing tig.
Well, bring back the good old-fashioned games. I love British Bulldog and Knockdown Ginger.
So, to Ollie and to Lacey, and this is the decider.
Oh, no.
Has tick been banned?
I would go with true because they're banning everything else.
Yeah.
You know, British Bulldog,
Tick,
Knockdown Ginger.
tag, and tig, I think they're
And
all banned.
conkers.
Yeah.
It is absolutely true! Huge congratulations to our winners, Ollie and Lacey. That bird is winging its way to you as we speak. That's a lie. But thank you so much to Danielle and to Lizzie. Right, I'm off now to take my father to Wetherspoons. Until next time, goodbye.
History is littered with a long line of lovable but angry men. But one man rises above them all.
What just happened?
With Kevin O'Sullivan on talkTV.